Hello, my fellow diamond friends. My name is Kalikaloo on the internet, and I also go by the name of Kali. I'm very happy that you found your way to this new episode of my channel. And what we are going to do today, we are going to do a WIP and chat. And this WIP and chat, like you may know, is a work in progress, the work I'm working on, you see right here. And while I show, or while I'm doing a little bit of work on this picture, I'm going to talk to you. So literally it's WIP and chat. I'm really happy, like I said, that you found your way here. I'm the host of today, and let's get started. So the work in progress, the work I'm doing right now is the last unboxing I also did on this channel. It's from Randall Spangler. I bought it by Diamond Art Club. It's a round drill and it's called Afternoon Tea. It's a 2020 by 27 inches or 56 centimeter to 69 centimeter. You have, in this picture, I hid it 50 colors, and you have three ABs in this kit. You have once the green, you see in the dragon, that's going mainly in the dragon. And you have this little whitish, that's a little bit everywhere, mainly here in the cup of tea. And you have it also here on the sugar bowl and everything, so it's really enhancing the picture. And we have a blue AB, which comes here into the cup as well. You also have a little bit of the green ABs in the cup. And so far we have blue also a little bit here in the background. I think that's all for the blue. I saved this part for the WIP and chat. So what I'm going to talk to you and what I'm going to do today is the head of the little dragon. So I saved this part for you guys, and we will have a little bit of ABs in here, especially the bluish, the white one. You can see around the eyes, and we also have it around the first AB, the greenish one, around his head. So that's what I'm going to work on today. And let's get started. Let me pull it a little bit closer, and then we can get ready. So, what will I talk to you about? Let's see. Let me talk to you a little bit about my week. So, I had quite... Let's say it was not a normal week. It started well. Monday I went to work. Then Tuesday, if you don't know, I work at a high school. I'm a language teacher. I teach French in high school. High school here in my country is different from what you know in America or in maybe other European countries. We have like 7 years of high school here, which means that usually the kids start at the age of 12, and then they leave it at the age of, after 7 years mostly, so at the age of 18 more or less. Of course, there are different types of high schools. There are schools where you have like we do a distinction between classic, we have a distinction between technique, and we also have what you call professionnel. And you also have other schools as well, other models as well here in Luxembourg. But mainly what I do is I work in a technique, which means that most of my students will do something. They can go to university, some of them can, but not everyone will go. That's the difference mainly with classic, where you want to go, you are sure you're going to go, or most of them are sure at least that they will continue education after high school. Here in the school, it's not that usual that students go. It's getting more and more though, that they go on doing other studies after school. But we also have like professionnel, which means that they are mostly doing like jobs where you don't need a university diploma for it. So that's that. I went to work on Monday, just to give you a little context. I went there, I had school, everything was well. And for Tuesday, I had planned to get my vaccination, my booster vaccination. I know this is a theme that's not that many YouTubers don't want to talk about. I think like there's no subject we should not talk about. Everyone has the right to have their own opinions as long as they respect the opinions of others as well. In my opinion, respect is the most important quality and communication is important. So I'm going just to tell you how my week went, how the vaccination went for me, the booster vaccination. If you are not alright, or if you have different opinions upon the subject, that's very fine. I accept that. Please just accept also that I might have a different opinion on it. So this being said, so Tuesday is my free day, my day of work usually. And so I plan to get my booster at that moment. When I got there, I was not sure if I had to wait in line, because I have heard that the days before, many people were actually with a rendezvous when they had fixed a date and an hour where they an appointment. They still had to wait. And I was hoping for like 2-3 hours even, because there are so many people. Well, we don't have that many people actually, but we have some people that are not vaccinated yet. And the current political situation pushes them a little bit in the direction to get vaccinated here. So there are many people who got vaccination for the first time, and they kind of got to pass first before those with an appointment, as that's what I heard. That's not what I did see on Tuesday though. So I went there were nearly no one who came for the first vaccination. And I had my appointment and I could go in right away. I had, I think, 2 persons who were there before me, and they were the service people, and the doctors that were there and who got me the vaccination were very, very nice. Of course, it did sting a little. Since I'm still under 30, I got a first booster of Pfizer. So it was my third Pfizer vaccination. And usually I waited for this 15 minutes after getting the shot. And then after 2-3 hours, my arm would start hurting a little bit. And this time, while I was sitting in the waiting room, and I think it was at least 5 minutes after I got a shot, my arm started already hurting. And I was like, okay, that's different. But I've also heard that if your arm starts hurting, you're not gonna get any other symptoms. Well, I guess that's not true, because later on, at first, I just had my arm that really hurt and everything was fine. But later on, when I got home in the afternoon, I started getting like this feverish feeling where my head was all flimsy and I felt hot, and somehow I didn't hear as well, and my vision got a little bit blurred and everything. So I had fever, and I usually never get fever. Sorry, that's the tea if you hear this sound. I usually never get that much fever because I'm not very sick often. But yeah, I got fever and I got 39-ish degrees, 39-ish, 5, I can't remember, but it was quite a lot actually. And so I was a bit worried, but I took the medication they told me to take if I get a fever, so I could drop it at least a bit. But on Wednesday I could not go to work because with a fever it's not well to go to work. I usually always go to work when I can, even with a headache or whatever, but with fever I don't go to work because that's too dangerous. And so I stayed home that day and I just took good rest. I read a bit if I could, or I just stayed in bed mainly and tried to drink a lot of water, a lot of tea, and hoped it would get better. On the second day, so it was by then Thursday, the fever had dropped a little, but I still had it, and it was like 38 something, and I was like, oh, I can't go to work, but I have to go because like my students will have to write a class paper, and I really don't like being there when they write, because maybe they have questions and maybe something was not that clear, or maybe I'm not going to help them. I'm not going to help them with their answers, but yeah, maybe they have questions, or maybe they have something that's not clear, and I'm not going to help them with the answers, but maybe I'm going to reformulate something, or yeah, so you know how it goes. Anyway, I was really, should I go, shouldn't I go, and in the end I decided that my health is, a little more important. I really did not feel well, and if I have to go to work, I first have to drive there, and we always have a lot of traffic, which means that actually from where I live, if I have to go to Luxembourg City, I really have to stay in traffic for quite some while, because we have a lot of people who go there at the same time and nothing really works. So I was like, if I go there, I'll be already out of breath when I get there. I have this huge bag I have to take with me, and this won't be nice either. So I decided to stay home because I really did not feel that great at that moment. And later on, the day went on, and I started feeling a little bit better because I got some rest. I stayed in, and yeah, I just drank a lot of water again, and I stayed hydrated mainly, and I got some sleep, and I just hoped that everything would be fine the next day. But in the night, something other happened, something I hadn't had in years. I got herpes again. I hadn't had that. Like, I got it for the first time when I was in primary school, when I was about, let's say, 8, maybe. I got it for the first time. And from that on, I had it quite sometimes when I was in high school myself. But after high school, it just kind of disappeared. It got dormant in some way, so it never popped up again. And I was really lucky because I always had it next to my mouth. I never had it anywhere else, because when I talked later with my fellow colleagues at work, I had some colleague that got it right into her eye, and I was like, wow, what? And she was like, yeah, it was super crazy because the doctors gave her antibiotics, and they actually shouldn't have done that, because one can get blind if you use it and you have it in your eye. So she got really lucky that they discovered later, and that they told her, no, don't take antibiotics because that's not good. Anyway, so I just got it next to my mouth, and at that point I was lucky. It's still there, and it's going to stay there for quite some while. But usually I still remember that from when I was at high school. It started with a little tingling next to my mouth, and I was like, oh. So I just took some tea tree oil I usually use, and I put that next to it. I know there are also some creams you can use, or now even apparently some pills you can take, but I didn't have them, so I used tea tree oil, and that usually works for me because it dries out the whole thingy, and I'm not allergic to it either. So before using it, you should actually see if you may not be allergic to tea tree oil, because there's apparently some people who are, and yeah, that can be quite bad as well. Sorry, I just don't know how this little thingy got there. So yeah, that was my week from Monday to Thursday. On Friday I went back to work. Was quite nice. The students were happy to see me again. I had another class paper I did with another class, so everything went quite well. Unfortunately, I had some kids that went on Thursday doing their, what we call here, stage. So they go to see They have to find a job for quite some time, and they are off now. I actually hoped I would see them so that I could wish them good luck, but since I was sick, I could not see them, I could not tell them good luck, so I wrote them. I will leave them a little message on Monday. I think on our group chat we have, like, for school we work a little since the pandemic. We started working with internet, and every class has their own groups, and I think I will leave them a message of encouragement there. I know that not everyone has found one, because also the pandemic makes it hard for them to find jobs, even for just maybe because it's just for short time. So yeah, I felt a little bad for them, because I think it's really hard for the kids nowadays, if they have to find a job, and if they even you have to gain experience, because many places just ask you to have a lot of experience when you start, but it's difficult to have experience if no one takes you in. So I think this is also a little bit, yeah, I don't know. It's not easy for our generations, the kids, and I think, yeah, the pandemic is quite hard on everyone, and that's something we should never forget. Yeah, so that was my Friday. It was quite a normal day, because I went to work. When I first got there, like I said, I felt really, really tired. From my car to the school, I have to walk a little bit. It's not very far usually, but I had my backpack with me, and I had my computer in it, and I had all the books with me. And when I got there, I was like, okay, you're still not quite okay, because I felt very hot at that moment. Like I was really warm, and I had difficulty breathing a little bit. So I was like, okay, maybe I'm not completely, the fever isn't gone completely, or I don't know. So yeah, I was not good at 100%, but I felt good enough to go to work, let's say it like that. And when I got there, well, it's like this for me at least. When I'm there, everything is okay, and in the day, usually the symptoms get less important. So after a while, I felt better, and I decided to stay there. And yeah, in the end, everything was all right, and I was happy to go to the weekend later after my hours, and that I would rest on the weekend. But you have to know that right at this time we have exam periods, so I have actually a whole bunch of class papers to correct, and I worked through most of them on Saturday. I also did a little bit of diamond painting because I felt better, and that's mainly it. That's mainly what I did on these few days. On Wednesday, my video went also up, that I unregistered and load up on YouTube. This was the unboxing of this little guy, and I was super excited to share this with you. Yeah, so that was mainly my week. And like I said, it was not a normal week for myself, because usually I don't get sick, and I couldn't go to work, but I didn't get much done actually. And I'm a person, I really need to do a lot of things. Like, I'm very active, I like to be creative. I would say I'm not the most social person, in the sense that I like to have time for myself. Like, I like to have time where I just diamond paint, and where I just read, because I also love reading a lot, and time where I don't have to see many people actually. And yeah, at that point I'm not that social. I also love doing activities that I know many people don't appreciate that much here, at least in my generation, and from people I know, from my friends. And so I like going to museums a lot. I like to go just outside, even if it's especially when it's very beautiful outside, when the sun is shining. Just go someplace, sit down and take my book with me and read, because like I said, I'm a big reader. And yeah, I had this when I was at university. I went to Brussels at university, and we had these huge parks there everywhere, and that was so nice because in summer I took my dog, I took Edgar, and we went to sit there, and it was just to chill or even to study. If you have to study for your exams, it was nice too. I also like in summer, I also like to camp in my garden, because quite a while ago, well, not quite a while ago, but let's say before July, I still lived with my mom. When I came back from university, for the first years I lived with my mom because I had to earn some money to get a place for myself, and I did not want to live in an apartment. I wanted to buy my house. So I stayed with her for a while so that I could save more money. And so before I lived in my house now, I just I lived with my mom, and she was always like, I didn't go to, especially now during the pandemic, I did not want to leave the house as much and go far away to holidays and everything. So I stayed at home and during summer, and I really like sleeping in a tent. And so I put down the tent in my garden, and I just slept there and had fun. It was really, I think it's really fun to sleep in a tent. And if you stay in your garden, you feel quite safe. So yeah, I know this is crazy, but I sometimes like doing crazy stuff like this. So I slept in my tent in my garden, okay? I had Edgar with me, and Edgar, at the beginning, he also slept in the tent, because he's not like very protective. He's like, I mean, if a burglar came in, he would say, hey, and that would be it. I mean, he would be very friendly, I guess. But depends on situation, actually, because he can also be very mean. But anyway, he likes being hot, and he likes being warm, and he likes being inside. He likes to sleep on his cushion. And yeah, so he stayed inside the tent. But I think at some point he got thirsty, and I had put this water in front of the tent, because if I kept it inside, he would just spill it everywhere, and I can't have that. So he went out for drinking, and then he stayed asleep. He fell asleep before the tent, and he was a little bit like a watchdog. And this was what's so funny, because he usually doesn't do that. But yeah, I thought it was cute. Tell me, do you have animals? Do you have dogs? Do you like also doing camping? Like, I would love to go on a camping someday eventually, but I'm not sure. You have to take so many things with you. My car is not that big, and I would love to go with a camper, but I don't have a place for camper. I don't know where I should put a camper if I bought a camper, so I don't have a camper. But that's something I would like to do. As kids, we always drove. We did some holidays where we went away with a camper with other family members, and we went especially to France. I can remember we went there to the Ardèche. It's in the middle south of France, and the weather is really, really good down there. And I think it's my favorite region of France, actually. It's very, very beautiful. It's more dry. You have a lot of mountainsides, and you also can do camping quite a lot down there. And I think it's very, very beautiful. So I would like to go back there eventually and just do, I don't know, or go elsewhere, but just go with a camper. I think this would be fun. I have to say that when I went to vacation, I usually go with family, or I don't go that much with friends. I like going to vacation with my boyfriend, but I actually also love going by myself, just on my own. I don't know if that makes sense. I know that many people are afraid of doing it, or they tell me that for them it's like really weird to go by yourself because you have no one to talk to. But like I told you, I don't really need people. I'm very fine if there's just me. Well, I have many people around myself during the week, so it may be linked to that, but already as a child I was like this. I don't need many people. I'm very fine on my own. I'm a little bit introvert, and that's okay. I'm not weird in that sense, but yeah, maybe I am. I don't know. Anyway, so I like going to vacation on my own. I don't need many people around me. I can just go and I feel free. So in 2019, I went to Japan for what was it? It was nearly 3 weeks on my own. So I planned it all before going there. And then I traveled. It kicked it off in Osaka. I went to Kyoto, and I visited Nara, and I stayed a few days in Kyoto before I moved to. I took an inline flight to Hokkaido. It's the northern island of Japan, and I stayed there for quite a bit. And there I also moved. I went to Furano to see the flower fields. I went also to Noboribetsu to see the onsen cities and the volcano. And from there I went to Sapporo, where I stayed also a few nights before I flew to Tokyo. And there stayed for a while as well. And on one day I actually met a friend I knew from here and who studied there at that time. So that was nice because we went to see fireworks with his friends, and I really had a great time. So this is right before I came back. I really had the best time there. I think 2019 was for me one of the best years. Was one of the best years in, I don't know, before everything went down with Corona. And so this was just, I have so many fun memories of 2019, because actually 2019 was also the year that I had the chance to go to London for the 1st of June, where, like, I don't know if you're into music, please don't bash me for this, but I really like their music, where I went to see BTS. I had a chance to get tickets for their world tour of Speak Yourself, so yeah, I went there, I saw them, and it was amazing, like the best concert experience I ever had. And it was so massive because there were so many fans, and they were all so nice. They gave away like food, they gave away like merchandise. It was really amazing. It was a great time, and I also love London. London is such a beautiful city. If I could, I would go back right away. But now with the Brexit situation, I did not dare going there again. But yeah, I have so many fond memories of 2019. And the year later, well, my grandma passed away, Corona came in, and she did not pass away on Corona, by the way, but 2020 was not the best year. Same for 2021, and I guess also, I don't know, I'm not sure about this year yet, so there are still some months to go, so I'll just let it present itself to me, and I will judge at the end of the year if it was a good year or not. So I'm not gonna predict something. Maybe it will turn out great, but yeah, I'm a little bit skeptic. This whole thing is still going on, and yeah. Yeah. So I hope we will get out of it eventually, and I hope that everything will be quite normal again, because I feel like people are going a little bit crazy right now. You often hear about violences, the manifestations they have, and I'm not sure. I don't like the way the world is turning right now. We have so many other problems, like why, and I don't know. I think we should, there's so many problems, and I think that the social problems we have are getting worse because of the situation we are living right now. Anyway, let's try to get on a positive thing again, because I don't want to just talk about bad things. What can I talk to you about? Let me think. So I can talk to you a little bit about my dog. You can't see him. I can show him to you later maybe. But his name is Edgar, like you know, and Edgar is a French bulldog. I got him when I was at university because my friend moved out and I did not want to stay alone in the apartment, and I always wanted a dog, so I got Edgar. He has now nearly 8 years. He is born on the 4th of January, February, March, April 2014. That's why I always say it's 4/4/2014. And so I remember it very well. And he is already a bit old, because these dogs, you may know, they don't get that old actually. They get between 8 and 10 years old. And when I got him, I did my research, okay? I knew that they were going to have a lot of problems, especially with their nose, if it's hot and everything. But I was not aware that there were so many problems they could actually have or get or whatever. So he's super nice and sweet. He's still my little baby and everything. But he got also some problems now. And when my grandma passed away in 2020, he also started developing some problems with his back. It was mostly at the same time, that's why I remember. And he started to not be able to move correctly one of his legs behind. And this was quite problematic because he could not work that well. So from that time on, we stopped working him quite as often. So he goes out once a day for 20 minutes. We try to walk him. Sometimes it works and he wants to do a little bit more, so we do a little bit more. Sometimes he's just in more pain, and so we go back home. But in the end, he's very active still. But yeah, he has this problem, and I think he knows how to live with it. And I think also he has quite the time of his life still, because he's so happy whenever someone comes and visits us. And yeah, so I live very close to my grandpa, and he's always very, very happy when grandpa pops in, and when he sees him. So grandpa nearly comes over every day. So he's happy every day, and also my mom comes visit us so often. So we all live in the same city actually. So for us it's normal that everyone can visit quite regularly. I think that's amazing. I don't know how it's in your place. I know Luxembourg, you have to understand, is a very, very small country. So everyone knows everyone. We have also not that many cities actually. And yeah, so it's quite easy to go from one place to another. We have, maybe you have heard this in the news, but we have the very first, we have our public transportations are for free in the whole country and for everyone. But I have to say that they are not on point yet. They are working on it, but it's very difficult sometimes to get from one place to another with only public transportation. So that's one thing. But they exist and they are for free, so I think that's amazing. But they have to still continue linking some cities together, because it's not always easy to get, for example, from here to the north. It's like, I said north, well, it's one hour drive with the car, but yeah, you get it, you get the point. What else? What can I tell you? So that's my dog. That's my trip to Japan. What else can I tell you about? Let me think. My week was really not that exciting. Oh, I forgot some ypsilons there. My week was really not that exciting, that I have a lot to tell you guys. But let me get a quick sip of tea. Yeah, I'm really a tea person. I don't drink any coffee. I just can't, I don't like the taste of it. For me, drinking coffee is like, I never found something I liked in coffee. I tried a few times because my mom said, oh, but it's so good for the health. Well, for the health, it's really, yeah, it depends on how much you drink and what type of coffee you drink. And anyway, so I tried it a few times and I really, really don't like the taste of it. I never could drink a whole cup of coffee, because for me it was just like, no, that's not my taste. That's not my cup of tea. I'm really a tea person, so I drink a lot of tea. I got a special machine from my mother where I can change the temperature, which is quite nice because sometimes for some tea you have to be very careful with how with the warmth, well, how high you put the temperature, because this will change the not just the smell but also how it tastes. And yeah, so I got a very good tea machine there, and I use it on a daily basis because I drink a lot of tea. Like, first thing I do when I wake up is I drink tea. On the weekend, first thing I do when I get home from work, I drink tea, because that's just my thing to feel good and to give me back energy. But for example, if I drink black tea in the evening, I know you should not do this because you won't be able to sleep. Well, it does not really have an effect on me. I don't know why, but yeah. The only thing in tea I don't really like are fruity teas. Like, you get these red fruit tea with I don't know, with these berries and stuff, and that's just not my cup of tea again, because I don't know, I prefer it like when they are black, they are white, when they are yellow tea I love also, like, but don't give me these fruity teas. That's not something I would enjoy. Yeah, so I drink very a lot of tea, and I know that this can't be that great either for your health, so I'm very careful about what I drink and the quantity I drink of it. And I also try to mix it. I also know that herbal tea into big quantities is not that well good, sorry, for your health. So I'm very careful about that too. I'm aware of it, and I try to see that I don't drink too much tea as well. Tea, you may know, is also quite bad for your teeth because it stains them, and that's why you might see that I always have a metallic what am I saying? How do you call these thingies in I just forgot it in English. Well, you know what I mean. I slurp through them, and so my teeth don't get stained by the tea. That's why you might see them when you saw the cup earlier. Currently, I'm drinking green tea sencha. I also noticed that I can't drink tea on an empty stomach because, I don't know, somehow this makes me feel sick. but it's just with green tea. Black tea, I don't have any problems. Usually, why do I say this? I don't drink it on empty stomach, because usually in the morning I don't eat much. Especially if I go to work, I don't have, like, it's not that I don't have the time, but somehow over the years I found that I work better if I don't eat much in the morning. So maybe I will eat just a little cookie or a little something, not with chocolate but with cereals, and then that's that. But I usually don't eat like a whole bunch of things in the morning. I save that for the lunch or for dinner later. I also like eating 2 times warm food. Like, I really like eating in the evening something that's hot, or something that I have not yet eaten at midday, at lunch. What about you? Because I know that depends a lot on cultures. When I grew up, my mom was always like, at the evening you get like bread. You eat some what we call tartine. So you eat bread and you put some marmalade on it, or some type of meat if you want to, or some cheese or anything. But it will be like, it won't be hot, it will be cold, and yeah, you have to deal with that. But I don't like that. I prefer when my food is hot. So I'm quite desperate sometimes here, because I don't like cooking that much. I have to do something. So usually I do eggs, or I do an omelette, or I do some mozzarella. I do stuff like that. It's very easy to make in the evening, but I prefer it if it's hot. I can't tell you why, but I know that, like I said, some cultures don't eat warm things in the evening. They prefer eating cold things. What it's about at your place? What do you prefer? And also tell me if you're a coffee drinker or if you prefer tea, because I think that's very interesting. And I always like drinking tea when I read as well, because that sets me in a mood. And especially when it's raining outside, because I think that's so magical. I don't know you, but do you like the smell of rain on the streets, like this ozone thingy? I really enjoy that. I think the smells so good. And I know some people don't know it, or they told me that, what, you smell the rain? And I was like, yeah, of course I smell the rain. Can't you smell it? And I heard that some people don't smell it. And I think that's crazy, because it smells so good. And yeah, maybe I'm weird. I'm pretty sure I'm weird sometimes, but yeah. Like I said, I like drinking tea, and I also like reading. So reading is another passion of mine, next to bullet journaling and also diamond painting now. And I'm a big reader, in the sense of I read quite a lot a year, because I always have a paper version of a book that I'm reading, and at the same time I'm listening to audiobooks, because if I want to fall asleep, I listen to audiobooks. Otherwise I have a really hard time just falling to sleep. And that's something that started when I was at high school. Oh, what did I do again? When I was at high school, right in the last year of high school, actually, when there were the exams, final exams you had to do, where they check if you're able to go to university. And it's quite, I don't know, it's quite, I would not say unnerving, but it's quite stressful. So back at that time, I started listening to audiobooks to fall asleep, because then I concentrated on the story, and I mainly forgot that I had to work and to study. Sorry, I was just checking the time, because I have to go eat soon. And I'm very spoiled, because my mom's making me dinner today. Yeah, so anyway, that's when I started listening to audiobooks, and it really helped me getting some rest at night. And I just kept doing this throughout the years, and so I listened to an audiobook, and at the same time I have always a book to read, which doubles the amount of books I actually read, because I advance slowly usually when I listen to audiobooks, because at some point I fall asleep, then it automatically shuts down, but I still can't remember like everything, and I have to go back from where I remember. And yeah, so sometimes I listen to some passages twice, but that's okay, I guess. I don't mind. And what am I reading? Mainly, I'm very interested in young adult fantasy, young adult books, fantasy in every kind of fantasy. Science fiction I also like a lot. Yeah, I grew up with Harry Potter, of course, but also different fantasy novels I really like. I'm a big fan of Cassandra Clare's books. That's what I grew up with. I don't know if you know Lemony Snicket. It's actually a children's book, but I don't think it's that much for children, because you have so many references to English literary and other types of literature, and so many. That's a great story. If you're into books, please read it. It's a little repetitive at the beginning, but because the children, they are 3 orphans that have their parents die in a fire, and you will see fire is very important. It's key word of the story. And they land at the first relative they have that lives in their city, and it's Count Olaf, and they have like to live with him, and he's just terrible, and he wants their money. So you will see they get away from him, they get to live with other relatives, but somehow Count Olaf always finds them. And that's at the beginning of the story. So it's quite repetitive. I think it's 1, 2, 3. The 3 first books are quite repetitive, but after that, like, the story changes much more, and you see that there's more character developing, and everything is linked, and it's so interesting. And you can just link everything together, and there are so many mysteries. I don't know, if you don't like reading books, you can just check out the series. It's on Netflix as well. And that's one of the series I really liked, because it's very close to the books. They added some details that are not in the book, but apart from that, it was amazing, because I have never seen, or that's something I don't like. That's why I don't watch usually movies from where I read the book, because they are different. I don't mind if I watch the movie and then I read the book, because I can imagine the characters I saw in the movie. But I really don't like it if the characters are different from what I read in books, because I have my imagination, and if I imagine them in some point of way, I want them to be in that kind of way. So I'm going to do the ones. You see these little ones here? I'm going to do that. These are the special drills, and then I'm going to put an end to it, because I have to go. I have to get prepared, and I have to go see my mom. So let me finish that, and then I'll be off. So anyway, I really like the series of Lemony Snicket and the Baudelaire orphans. If you like it, or if you've seen it, please let me know what you thought about it. Did you like it? Also tell me, please, if you have a book that you are reading right now and that you might think might be interesting. It doesn't have to be like science fiction. I said I read a lot of science fiction, but I also like reading a lot of different things. I also like reading, for example, things about history, historic novels, or classical novels. The only thing I do is, like, if I can read it in the language it was written in, I'll buy it definitely in that version. I don't like to read things in translation. So If it's a book that's written in German, I will read it in German. If it's something that's written in French, but I will read it in French. That's no problem as well. Spanish, here we go. But yeah, I can't do that with every language, but I wish I could. That was always a dream of mine, like to be able to just read in, or at least know one language from every, one big language from every continent. Because, like, for example, if you know French, you can understand so easily Spanish or Italian or apparently also Romanian. That's at least what I studied in school, but I still think Romanian's quite different. Yeah, so it makes it easier to understand. I know there's Esperanto, but yeah, no. For me, that's the problem with Esperanto. If you don't know what Esperanto is, it's one language that has been created from every other language that exists. So it has part of everything in it. And I think this is amazing, but I think it's not just possible. It's not possible for me, sorry. It's not like English. English is a language that's mostly spoken everywhere, so you can use it everywhere. But Esperanto, I've never heard anyone talk to me in Esperanto, so I don't know. Is that really a thing? I don't know. Maybe if one day it's said like this is going to be the language, I will be that everyone speaks, and so we can communicate with everyone. I'm willing to learn it. But until this is really said and done, I'm not sure. For me, it's English still. Like English is, well, the big difference is English might be quite hard for some people to learn because it's so different from how their language works. If you take, for example, Asian languages like Japanese or Korean that work totally different than English from the syntax here and from how the phrases are built. So yeah, it might be so difficult for them to learn. That's why it's also difficult for us to learn Korean or Japanese, because it's different. And Esperanto has parts of every language, so it makes it easier for everyone to study it, which then means, okay, everyone can study it and it's easier. So I think it should be actually something that's discussed and on an international level, and it would be actually great. And I speak here as a point of a person that loves languages, because I know there's some people who don't like languages or study languages or learn new languages, but I think it would be amazing to just learn at school one more language where you can use with everyone, and that's actually easy for everyone to learn, not like English. Anyway, that's just my point of view again, so I don't know, I'm rambling. What else can I talk to you about? I'm nearly done here with the ones and the dragons, so for me it's nearly time to go and wrap this up. I'm sorry that I did not finish everything. I really wanted to finish this whole dragon review, but I don't do it because, like I said, I have to go to the scrap, just go to my mom's place and eat lunch or dinner, and oops, I just can't sit for more than an hour straight, and I think it has been right now already 51 minutes that I'm talking and rambling around about my life and everything that comes to mind. I hope that's okay with you, and like I said, maybe we can, if you enjoyed it or if I see that people like it, I may be able to do another video of this kind. I also have to check because I've seen that my iPhone, which is not the newest one, doesn't have that much space left in storage. So I have to see if I upgrade, get a new one with more storage, or what I can do, because this is bothering me. It's bothering me because I have to change it always. If I want to transform it in a video, I can't do that on my iPhone because I don't have enough storage left. So I have to check it, I have to send it to my iPad. and then I have to send it to my iMac I just use to actually get this transition and to put it up on the internet. So that's quite bothersome actually. It takes so much time. If someone has a solution for that, please let me know, because I know you can put an SD card into an iPhone to get more space and storage. And the thing is, it's not a new one, so it really has little storage and I can't do much about it. I just can't put, even if I take everything off it, it's still not enough to do very long videos or to do I just can't do enough. I think I just have to go around and buy a new one, but I don't want to buy a new one. It works still well. I'm a person that keeps phone for a very, very long time. If possible, as long as possible. I don't need the newest version of it. As long as it works, it's fine for me. Same with my car, by the way. And yeah, so I hope you had a great time. I hope I could entertain you a little bit, keep you company while you worked on your stuff maybe. I'm going to wrap this up right now. I'm going to switch off my light pad so you can see this picture, what we've done in progress. Here we go. Maybe you can see. It's very, very beautiful. I like how it turned out. It looks so, so sweet. He's still a little. And I hope I see you next time. Please stay healthy, stay hydrated, and have a great week. Bye!